go to work, 'cause I'm tripping. Gotta work on myself, 'cause I'm falling apart. Please wake me up, 'cause I'm slipping. Can't fight this feeling off no more. But I'm not going to give up and fall. Rise above it all, meet all my challenges and search for my strength. I defeat them all, I'm never ever gonna hide no more. I come to love myself again. Yeah. For all the things I didn't know, the pain, the hurt, I let it go. Start to believe in myself and life will be sweet again. So sweet again. Above it all, meet all my challenges and search for my strength. I defeat them all, I never ever gonna hide no more. I come to love myself again. For all the things I didn't know, the pain, the hurt, I let it go. Let it go. And I start to believe in myself, and life will be sweet again.
Steady camera one. Oh, there's an echo there. I gotta fix that level too. We'll pull that down to there. Let's see. As soon as you switch over to there. Hey. Good morning, all. You guys don't hear an echo, do you? Does everything sound good? Does my voice sound good? Let me know, because I've moved back to the porch. I've been wanting to get here forever. We've had some weird weather. Let me know if the audio is good, though, if you don't mind, because in my monitor, I'm hearing a double, and it's very annoying. Great. No echo? Just make sure, but it's, okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, I think maybe the computer's slow getting the data back, but look, we are back on the porch. I've set up this second station so I can still go back, because it will be cold here again, I promise you that. And, oh, I bet you if I turn this volume down. Okay, this volume should not be affecting my voice. I'm turning down the volume, but it's actually on my monitor, so you can still hear me fine, right? I'm not that stupid. Everything's still good. Touch echo. Don't tell me that, Eric. Someone take Eric out back and just fucking wail on him, because he's telling me there's an echo. I'm just kidding. You should still hear me. Everything should be good right now. Yeah, thanks. Hey, Rose. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Good morning, all. It's nice to be back on the porch. Holy jeez. I got a new light installed. The old one in there, over the winter, started making noise. In fact, this is a perfect perfect example. God, this is perfect. I'm going to talk about the light, but it's such a good example. I'm going to incorporate it in there. Self-fullness. That's the topic today, and I want to resonate in all of your souls. I want the rib cage to reverberate the cathedral of your bones, because that is who you are. Now, self-fullness. I've certainly mentioned this before. This is may not be something new to some of you, but it's still important enough to riff on. And one of those examples is that light. That light, when I bought this house, that light was not there. It was just a green. Actually, it wasn't green. The house was really dark panel brown. It was very dark in here when I bought this house. It was. I have a funny relationship with the word dark now, because someone last week is like, James is so dark. That James, he's so dark. And I just think you guys should be careful because of how dark he is, because the darkness is really strong in him, and I just sense it from here. And even though I'm not going to tell him directly because I'm full of light, he's very dark. And anyway, this house was very, very dark. And it actually still is, because you've got a high ceiling, and I don't have a skylight right above right there. But that stained glass used to be in the window. And when I bought the house, I drove here. The closing was like 5.5 hours away from here, where I closed on this house. And the freaking seller's realtor decided not to bring keys. Thought that bringing keys to a closing of a house was like silly in her mind. I even told her, I was like, well, why didn't you bring the keys? This is like a ceremony here. I mean, this would be when you pass over the key. This would be like a really good time to do that. And she was just like, well, that's just not how it's done. It was really weird. Oh, I'm tangenting here. But come on, if you're going to make $7,000 off fucking selling a car, you could at least bring the keys, right? At least. Anyway, I finally got the keys, and I rushed over here as fast as I can, because I wanted to know one thing. I wanted to know if the owners that sold me the house left this stained glass piece, because it was in the window. And in the window, it kind of made the house look creepy, because it was blocking out one of the windows here. This whole opening that you see wasn't here before. This used to be a wall, but it had a smaller window. And hanging in that window was that stained glass. And let me just make sure the audio is okay. Dark is, yeah. Good. So, me and my brother's an electrician. He was helping me do some wiring, but we installed that light right above the door. And above that door, there's like an attic storage space. So it like fit in perfectly. Anyway, hiding behind that light, that's a pretty big light. Hiding behind that light, I used to have just like a lamp pointed at it. And it didn't look good. It didn't have this full effect. And then I noticed if I bought 2 photography lights that have these like diffuse screens on them, that I could stack those lights on top of each other. Why am I telling you this story? Oh, because of self-fullness. This is why. This is why. I would never steer you wrong, guys, and tell you a story that didn't have some fundamentally crucial moralic ending to it. God, it feels good to be back on the porch. Man. The second light, the one on top over the winter, started making this really loud noise, like really loud fan noise, right? I took it apart, compressor, blew out all the parts, retightened what I could, loosened what I could. Didn't matter what I did. Just kept making that sound. It was such a powerful sound. It was so loud that I didn't want the lamp on. I would only turn it on if I was live streaming. And then, which means I never got to enjoy the light unless you guys were here. This is what I come into Self-fullness. I would never, ever, ever consider it kind for me to do a show without this light on. And why? It's because I want your witness to be dilated by whatever I can. I'm not saying that I built the light to dilate you. I built the light to dilate me, to dilate the house. But I would never stream from this station and not allow that light to not be on. I would go to extra calories to make sure that light was on. I upgraded those lights from a standard bulb just hanging out on the floor to those photography lights because of you, because of this show. I'm not trying to milk this. I just want you to know that this is a deep lesson here in self-fullness. I lack the ability to consider my personal witness important enough to put that light in. And I hijacked your witness's importance, and I used it to fix that light. And over the winter when it went out, I ended up moving into my office to stream because, frankly, this giant hole, this is an 8 by 4 foot hole that I've cut into my wall, is just too freaking cold. When I open this, I could do a stream for an hour and a half and it'd be cold. It's not actually that part. It's that when I put the cover back on, I've got a piece of plexiglass that goes over here. It takes about 6 hours to warm the house back up. So to live stream from here in the winter means I'm basically turning the inside into the outside for like 6 hours, right? Not always a big deal. I prefer streaming from here. The light is just part of it. Okay, it's April 11th, 11:11 right now. That's kind of cool. The light is part of that. It's part of why I like to stream here, but the power that I took to open up this hole and remove the darkness. Oh, but James is so dark. You know, I just wanted to reach out privately to you and tell you how dark I think James is. I'm not going to actually tell him that, but I just wanted to have a one-on-one with you so you and I could personally discuss how dark I think this guy is, because, you know, I'm light and you're light, and clearly you need to understand how dark he is too. It's, oh, God. Ugh. Makes you want to fast. I broke my fast. We'll talk about that if we get to it. Here, I'll put a note down. I needed your witness to turn that light on. And when you have company, you do the same. The moment companies come over, you're like, oh, I should clean up. I should make this place nice because, you know, a person that's important is going to be here. And what did you just do? What were you doing to yourself when you decided to declare to your house, oh, I will burn calories now because someone important is here? Someone that I want to impress or dilate is coming over here into my house right now. And that's the only time I will be motivated enough to actually make it a better environment. You see what you did to yourself? What I did to myself? What we do to ourselves? We dismiss ourselves constantly. And when we have a relationship, when we find someone special in our lives, I think guys do this. I don't know how women do it. I'm just saying I know guys do it. They probably both do it. That when you have someone special in your life, you feel not obligated in a like a begrudging way, but you feel an importance. That's it. You feel an importance into creating an atmosphere that's dilating for the one you love. Do you see where this is going? Tell me you see where this is going, because I could end the show right now, and enough of you that if you can see through the stabby stabs, we must stab people 4 times a year, you can already see the rest of where the show's going, right? You already feel how this is us abandoning ourselves, right, Fendeco? Right? Do you see what I'm saying? Do you understand that you do not love yourself completely unless someone else is in the room that you feel worthy of dilating? This, my friends, is the biggest, most colossal lesson we are here to learn. And when you find the right partner, you find a cheat code to this, And if you were loyal and if you were loving, you keep using that cheat code, and you will always dilate the room more because someone important is in it. So why are you not that person? Why did it take me, April, why did it take me 4 months to get that light back on? And that light is on now. I upgraded. I had to. I didn't want to upgrade because one light worked, one didn't. But I couldn't find the lights anymore. Didn't find it. All I could find is one giant light. So now there's no longer two separate lights, and there used to be a tiny little seam that you guys probably never could see because I put a lot of effort into hiding that seam. All that work had to go, and I had to put in a giant bigger light. The bigger light is pretty badass. The bigger light even has a remote. It's pretty cool. See, look. Off, on, off, on. That is pretty freaking cool. I gotta say, that's really cool, right? Lights on, lights off. James, it's so dark. I just wanted to reach out because of how light I am to tell you about how dark James is, okay? So, hey, this is me just looking out for you because I'm the light. Because I'm the light, I felt it was important that I reach out to you and tell you that James is Lucifer and he's like Satan, and if you listen to him, it's just going to cause all this darkness to spill out like this volcano of darkness because he's telling you to be selfful. He's telling you to spend the calories to start to find this beautiful lover that you not only have and hold, but is with you every moment of the day. And that lover deserves the finest wine, the most colorful meals, the most perfectly set music, a warm fire, a light, an interesting topic, a moment of dilation, just as much as the next person. In fact, just do a little. In fact, if you were to do that to yourself all the time, not only would you find that relationship monstrously change, that person who you're dilating would have no choice but to dilate you more, but you might even find that the relationship itself is no longer a necessity, it becomes a feature of your life, not a necessity. And I don't have any problems with people considering or needing a relationship as a necessity in their life. I've spent a good bit of my life in that same mode. I have no qualms with that. I find freaking toast a necessity. I find coffee that has even the smallest bit. I've tried to count the number of grains of sugar in the raw. Those are the big grains. I've tried to count the number of those things I could actually put in my coffee and feel like it's sweetened. I've strived, as we all strive, to find our optimal state. And one thing I learned on my fast is that if we're supposed to go through the world like not eating, I really don't want to be here. Like, I'm not saying that I want to eat every day. I'm not saying that I want to find myself digesting all the time. But I'm trying to say that after the second day, I was really just really torn over why I was even here if I wasn't going to be allowed to digest things. And I realized I wasn't eating things, I was digesting them. And that I think when you focus on the eating of something, you fail to realize that eating is just the front end of digesting. And when you and I call each other, it's like, hey, what are you doing? We're digesting. I know I probably said this Friday, but these kind of events really give us a new look at not only who we are, but how we're dilating those around us. What our signal is. This is why I believe in grooming. even though I don't always like, I believe in grooming because I think that it would be a form of theft if I was to not apply calories into honoring and dilating your visit here with me today. And we do the same in our house, right? People come over, we want them to feel dilated. We bring out our best scotch. There's a tree, a pear tree, in Germany. And when the pear tree grows, these bottles are slipped over the bud of a pear. And the bottles are glass. And so the sun is allowed to shine through to the pear. And I guess they sort of hang. I haven't actually seen them hang them, but the pear grows inside the bottle. And when the pear becomes ripe, the stem is cut. And now you have a bottle with a full-grown ripe pear inside. And you ferment scotch in there. Or you ferment something in there. Maybe it's vodka. It's something. But the experience of drinking that has nothing to do with the taste. The experience of drinking that has everything to do with you thinking about the amount of calories, time, and effort it took to create a pear that was growing inside a bottle. It wasn't like a ship. I can't, James, if you see my text, do not read it out loud. I can't help it. It's like some kind of weird, like, black hole thing that you like, and you sucked me in. I had no choice. So whatever that was about, I have no idea, but I had to read that. It's like Rose knows how to program me or something. But, oh, okay, gotcha. Anyway, okay, so dilating yourself is done when we dilate our partner. Most of us who have been through, it's not even like a historical thing, because even codependency isn't wrong. Codependency is simply a catamaran for humanity. There are monoholes and there are catamarans. I'm a monohole. That's all. I've tried being a catamaran. Holy fuck, I tried. I really wanted to be a catamaran. I love the idea of being a catamaran, but when he did all the math, I was a fucking monohole. I was deeper than that. And I that deepness is going to have people say, you're so dark, because look, man, I don't like you going down that deep because you're just so dark. I don't want to do that. And so you find out who you are in these situations. And I think who I was, and the reason why I wanted and was so codependent on a relationship really came down to how much I was dilating myself. It really came down to my self-fullness. What was the fullness of myself? What is the fullness of myself as I proceed through the day? Self-fullness. And the charisma that you seek, the charisma that you recognize in others, that you might call other things, oh, he's attractive, or oh, he's strong, or oh, she's gorgeous, or oh, she's talented as fuck. All of those things really are just costumes on charisma. And that charisma is simply going to be the sheen of selffulness that just emanates, and it emanates from abundance. It doesn't emanate from projection. It emanates from abundance. Now, bringing that back to selffulness, the reason why you feel so dilated with your partner is because there is a catamaran of dilation. You were sailing on that different form of importance. You have elevated yourself by feeling worthy of the relationship, by feeling worthy of the partner that's in the room. And you love this person. And part of the vitriol why you're here in this world is to learn to understand, how do I love this person? Am I supposed to be a catamaran? How can two monohulls sail together? Can they? All of these things are basically dilation formulas. And if you find yourself more dilated when you're alone, you're probably going to consider yourself a monohole more. If you find yourself more dilated when you're in a relationship, you are going to look for literally anybody at all. And you're not going to know what it is you're actually attracted to, because the entire time you're attracted to yourself, but you only like the person that's dilated. You don't like the monotone guy that has no light. You don't like the guy that's just going to be like, yeah, welcome to the show. It's live stream, a lot of shit's going down. There's like victimhood everywhere. It's so great. I found a new way to victimize myself on Friday. It was pretty cool. I was really into it. It was very mad. Hey, I'm just going to check my text for a while. I'm not going to really pay attention to you. Oh, yeah, we're in a line at a restaurant. Gee, that's great. Oh, Olive Garden? Yeah, I'll have a Caesar salad with chicken and a lot of cheddar cheese because, I'm on a diet. Yeah. That kind of feeling is the sheen of your charisma. It's the sheen of your self-fullness. And when your self-fullness is at 100%, spending 6% of that on the colors inside the meal today is no problem. But when you're down at 38%, spending 6% on the colors of meals is not going to happen. Nor should it. This is all part of this sonar or radar, or whatever you want to call it. This sonar I keep talking about. You're pinging things that are invisible, but you can clearly see. But you're not rendering them with your eyes. You're seeing it another way. Yesterday I found a tree. I don't have the video right now. I'll have it worked up where maybe I could just pull that up. But yesterday I found 2 trees, completely different varieties. I'm going to guess. One of them's probably a crab apple. The other was an oak. And they were twisted around each other. Their branches were always 8 to 12 inches apart. I mean, their trunks were. And their trunks were gyrating and twisting in this 100-year-old dance. Both of them had autonomy. Neither of them had eyes. Do you understand? Neither of these trees could see. They sensed where the other partner was. They sensed it. Not only did they sense it, they sensed where the partner was growing. They sensed, how can I keep myself in this touchless dance and never ever interfere with their personal destiny? And their destinies were entwined, yet separate. It was profound. It was a slow corkscrew of trunk. It was stunning. And they didn't have eyes. And the things that we're talking about now, the charisma, the sheen, the self-fullness, you're never going to see that with eyes. You're never going to see that. It's something you're going to sense. It's something you're going to simply know. The man is attractive to the woman because the man has 6% to build a new bed. That 6% calories is a joy to him. And there's a difference between the bed and the mattress laying on the floor. I have no beef with mattresses on the floor, by the way. I think they could be done just as well. You're going to find that the amount of prana that's placed into what's happening is where that 6% comes in. But when the man builds the bed, the woman is dilated. It just happens. When the woman prepares herself to sleep on that bed, the man is dilated. You sleeping alone can be and should be just as dilating. That your self-fullness will complete that. I spent months looking for exactly the right bedside lamp. Not like every day. But I didn't just want a lamp that I had in my basement. It was too high. It didn't fit the mood. When I am fully dilated and charismatized, I turn my light on by my bed right around dusk. I'm not going to bed now, but I turn it on right around dusk. When you are dilated, you make your bed in the morning. Why? Because you know that someone important is going to be seeing that. You know that there's an opportunity to I used to think that the whole pulling down the sheets was like this really insane ritual, and who the fuck would want anyone to be coming into your room? And I still don't like that, but I get it now. People are hijacking the hotel's ability to dilate them. That the chocolate on the pillow, the turning of the sheets, is a bequeathment of importance. It's a secretion. And when we do this without a monetary goal, it's pure magic. Humans are the only creature that has this... actually, I can't say the only creature anymore. I've been really ignoring whales lately. Humans are the only land animal that we know that has this resonance economy where man is investing in the humanity of themselves. This is why I don't believe in the 3 F's. There's the fourth is friending, that there's a system in place. Your mammalian system is always looking for friends. It's a very, very, very important thing. These rituals that we use are brought about and invented purely by how much they dilate us. And yes, you can be dilated because you are sensing how much someone else is dilated by your work too. It's why the nuclear family works so perfectly. It's a very efficient system. I'm not knocking it. I don't think everyone here is supposed to finish life with certain criteria or credentials satisfied in that, right? I like the diversity of this difference. But when it comes down to it, how dilated you are alone is going to determine how dilated everyone else is around you. It's unavoidable. I already mentioned meals, but I think they're the most obvious. One of the reasons why I fast is because I don't eat a meal with anyone else that often. I know that when I'm in a relationship with someone, not only are the meals that I eat remarkably better, colorful, health-wise, all that stuff, but I rarely finish my plate. Rarely happens. Now, every piece of food that I cook must be consumed. And so the only way I can control how much I eat right now, this is why I fasted. I'm not proud of this. I lack the dilation. I lack the ability to dilate myself during a meal. I miss the codependency that I have of having someone else dilate it. And this is good work for me. It's one of the reasons why I began the fast. Travel is another example. When you were traveling with someone and there's a volcano that's a half a mile climb up, and inside the volcano is a crystal lake from the Grand Teotihuacan, blah, 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 you are much more likely to say, yes, let's climb that. Let's climb that crater and go look at the lake. If you were alone and you're traveling, it could be that if your charisma or if your dilation is not enough, you will not deem yourself worthy. You will tell yourself, yeah, it's probably a lake. I'll just look up the images online. Or I really have to get to this bus station because I don't want to miss this next ferry. You find yourself abandoning yourself and you don't even notice. See, it requires calories not only to be present, but it requires calories to notice when you've left the helm. And there's a certain lack of dilation, which these things just fall apart. They're no longer necessary. It shows up in your vibe, too. How you treat your house, right? My aunt comes over, and as soon as my aunt walks in, I suddenly can see all the crap in my house. It suddenly becomes visible. Bing! It pops into the world. Things that have been there for 3 weeks are suddenly, I can see them now. And this is a tumor. This disassociation, James is so dark. James is really dark because he had his pants hanging on the banister since Halloween. That scarf he pulled out on Halloween, and it's been on the banister the whole time. And then these pants were on top of it. And then these socks were on top of that. And then this coat, and this other coat, and then this other coat. And then there's dog leash. And then there's this shirt. We are dilated by people, and that people doesn't have to be someone that we are in a sexual relationship with, someone that we are family with. It could literally be anyone. The witness itself brightens our own, and that should be profound science. Now, I would say that there are times, because I've noticed this myself, where when someone comes in the room, it doesn't actually brighten my witness. It does the opposite. And we regulate with each other all the time. So this isn't even weird. The quality of you is going to depend on the quality of those you regulate with. You're not going to be able to help it. You're going to regulate with anyone around you. This brings up this concept of deservability. That the deservability seems to be in tandem with the dilation. The more dilated you are, the more you think you deserve the moment. The more you think you deserve the immersion. The more calories you are willing to spend to find that deservability. I would tell you this, that if you want to, that was funny. I would tell you this, that if you simply just wanted more output out of yourself, that you should start challenging yourself and this deservability quotient. And that witness to yourself, if you had that quality of witness to yourself, and it just simply was like doing planks in the morning, right? Where your core is just stronger. That the more you regulate with someone else, right? If you are at 72% self-fullness, and you enter a room with someone at 13%, you guys are probably going to regulate about 38% or whatever. Probably. It's going to depend on the energy of each. You probably will have a little bit better chance because you just simply have more self-fullness. So that's certainly a quotient, right? So let's bump it up to 54%. And that the more exercise you do alone, I would say that the more that regulation has a mean average that's closer to you. That it's that kind of muscle that unloads itself. And we want to regulate. We do. You can't help it. Excuse me, you're going to do it anyway. We want to regulate. And none of us really pay enough attention to what happens to ourselves when we enter that state. I think it's why it's so profoundly important to me that that I have my own zone when it comes to work or whatever else. I don't feel comfortable out of that zone because I'm working as hard as I can to alchemize the dilation to be able to have something akin to a 400 amp panel that I can plug in all the different equipment I want. And when it's time to work, I'm in serious plasma arc cutting mode. I'm not in, let's plug in a fucking Dremel and no, let's fucking plug in a plasma cutter. I'm not going to be able to do that if I have no choice but to regulate with 13%ers while I'm working, right? I find the challenge of all these different dilations fundamentally unique and interesting. So I don't even limit myself to a diet of only 70%ers or only 50%ers. I limit that diet when it's time to have a zone that I'm creating something in. That the merits of that creation will be directly determined by the self-fullness of everyone in that room. running a radio shows right now, the Dojoworth Radio, which is a fascinating experiment. And you're watching from week to week and from session to session people that are finding their self-fullness and putting it to the test of being on a microphone. And it's the exact same kind of thing, except for now the witness is amplified. Instead of it just being your aunt in your house, now there are 64 people, and they're watching you right now. And that kind of witness makes you want to dilate all of them. And so your posture adjusts as much as it can to do as much as you can in that moment to fulfill what you feel is an obligation to dilate them. And this is why people have stage fright. They sense that and they're like, this is way too hard. Screw this. I'm going to crack my voice. I'm going to forget my lines. I'm going to do something because I need these people to stop expecting me to dilate them. It's not going to happen. Why? Because we need more practice. I think it's dilation, not dilation, Stefan. But I think dissociative disorder and dissociative disorder have the exact same problem. There's that extra hump. It's like Abraham and Abram, right? It's like Abram turned into Abraham. Fascinating discussion. We'll put it down for another topic. But yes, I go with either one. Now, in addition to meals, travel, and vibe, there's also comfort. There's comfort. A long time ago, there was a company called Patagonia that used to make clothing. And I was way into hiking at the time. And I never felt worthy or had the money, both actually, to buy anything Patagonia. It used to be like really expensive. Maybe it is still. I don't know. It feels like I see it in TJ Maxx now. But even that was part of this quotient of self-fullness. And I would buy low alpine. It was like a lower, sort of like not as expensive, right? Not really brand namey, but you just wanted something decent. You wanted a decent rain jacket that had the breathability too, right? You did what you could do. And I think this is part of why we find fashion so fascinating. Part of the allure of what makes fashion so interesting is that we're looking for things that dilate us. You were dilated by the polo shirt. You were dilated by the Izod. You were not dilated by the Polo Club. Right? These are the same brand. They're from the same company, but one is not as dilating as the other. And I'm talking a long time ago. So, whatever in the fashion comments. All of these were chutes and ladders. This fashion technology, and it all boils down to this exact same thing I'm talking about now, this self-fullness. And that even our fashion is a reflection of that self-fullness. You see this a lot in photographers. There happens to be a lot of really talented photographers in this tribe. Sorry, Charlotta. In this group, whatever. And the photography shows you the self-fullness of the person. We have a lot of painters that paint during some of our shows. You see the same thing. You're watching the saturation of selfness reverberating through a medium of art, whether it be cooking, dancing, how you're dressed, how you hold yourself, what content you bring up in the morning, what kind of light you have, right? Whether or not you stuff your face, whether or not you were deserving of Patagonia, right? I'm trying to tell you that all of these are the same thing. I'm trying to tell you that these concepts are showcasing you your self-fullness. They're giving you a ripple on the screen to show you your depth. And if you can start to track your self-fullness, you will notice right away, oh my God, that woman dilates me, or that man dilates me. And it's time for some hard truth about that. Before I say that hard truth, I just want to give a shout out to members only jackets. That's a really good one, Waters Above. Members only, come on. with the whole snap. And Sebagos, oh my God, don't even get me started. Earth first, space later. Oh, Sebagos. Oh, the amount of tail I thought I was going to get by wearing a pair of Sebagos. But mine looked brand new. They weren't worn in. And I tied them behind my bicycle and tried to like rough them up that way. But then I lost like a snap, like one of the eyes, that holds it. And so then they didn't really look like cool roughed in. They looked like, well, someone dragged you behind the car, right? All for Sebagos. God, man, I really thought Sebagos was going to solve all my issues. I did. I never had a members only jacket. But I definitely rode the Polo Dragon. Yep, and the Izod Dragon too. I started to see through the lies at Polo Club, at Ralph Lauren Polo Club, right? I started to see through the lies when the alligator got bigger and bigger and bigger. Every year that logo got bigger and bigger and bigger. Why? Because the power of its dilation was getting small, and the people that knew that were milking it. And so they had to make it larger and larger and larger. You're seeing the science unfold. You're seeing the prana of that. That's why fashion is so important. Fashion is not superficial at all, man. I'm telling you, fashion is a big-ass fucking deal. Because we drape ourselves in this self-fullness all around it. And the deservability, right? One of the most profound ways I think you really find out about self-fullness is immediacy. The selfless man has no need for immediacy. The selfless man can say, I'd like to go for a run. And the selfless man will say, I will do that next week. I will write it down. Let's see, next week, let's look through our calendar here of how free I am. Let's see, I got a meeting, got an appointment. Wednesday. Wednesday at noon, I'm just going to really want to go for a run. I'm glad I thought of this the week prior on Tuesday at 7:38. Really glad I thought of that. Boy, I just can't wait to have that desire to want to run next Wednesday. Immediacy is the direct connection into the confidence of your self-fullness. When one does not know if what one's right, if what one wants is either worthy, if they're either worthy of that, or if it will even prove to dilation, we start to sacrifice our immediacy. What I mean by that is that the moment you have an appointment, you are now dilated because it feels like an obligation. And I do this to people all the time in dojo. I say, no, we're going to start the dojo. It's going to start at this time. And if you don't start at this time, someone's going to have to make it expensive for you. And if it won't be someone else, I'll have to do it. But that's what we do. And by putting that expensiveness on there, it creates the dilation into that zone. There's a 90-minute bubble of dojo. And people that are there to learn self-fullness don't have enough self-fullness sometimes to bring up a topic, and they have 90 minutes to secrete that. And at the beginning of dojo, no one sometimes has enough self-fullness to secrete a topic. They don't know if they're worthy of taking command of the dojo's witness and actualizing what's on their mind. And it's only through the collective dilation of everyone else contributing to dojo does finally someone get enough nerve, enough self-fullness to say, I see. This works. James, what is regulate? To regulate is a great question. I'm sorry I don't think to explain these things more. If anyone ever, I just want to say I really appreciate when someone says that, because that just didn't occur to me to just, and I don't want to be boring to you guys, so I don't want to tell you things that I just assume that you know. I'd rather just explain it. So thank you for that. When two musicians start playing together, they regulate with each other. And they don't actually do words. They don't say, hey, in 16.8 measure, in 14 point, in 7.8 measures, I'm going to do this. You can't do that. You can't have this linear appointment. You need immediacy. You mean immediacy and you need self-fullness right now. And no one wants to listen to someone play fiddle that doesn't have self-fullness. That is just the most awful sound you can ever hear. The sound of the fiddle is self-fullness converted into tone. And when you hear a good violinist, you're hearing that. So to regulate is when two musicians enter into a contract of self-fullness together. And you automatically start to regulate with each other. My breathing right now, if you were watching this show like I'm streaming it, meaning you were standing right in front of your laptop and I'm sitting, but if you were right in front of your laptop and you were looking right at the screen, you would find these breaths that I'm taking to be undeniably hypnotic. I'm not saying that you would breathe with me. I'm saying that the fact that you sensed that I was breathing would make you respond in a certain way. This is how you track how someone's feeling about you too, by the way. If someone matches your pace, they are being agreeable. If someone changes your pace, they are being disagreeable. Someone can be disagreeable with you and still dilating and still on your side, by the way. But for the most part, most of us tend to look for a medium. This is literally what hi means. Hi. Hi. Hey. Hi. Right? It's none of that. This is a very particular hi. Hi. Hello. This is a very particular form of regulation. It's not hi. It would scare the shit out of you the first time you met someone. And your response to that hi is telling them, yes, I accept this rhythm. This works for me. Just as if I was to say hi, and you would be like, what the fuck? That regulation is saying, I don't accept this. This is not acceptable. I disagree with this pattern. And actually, in that case, they're actually agreeing. Isn't that interesting? Because you're bringing it, and they're responding, but they're telling you no. It's profound communication, and none of it requires words. So our breath tends to regulate with those we're around. To seek communion is literally to seek breath with someone. And it's not just breath, even our pulse. So if you're coming in at 68 BPM and I'm at 48 BPM, if we're truly regulating and we have an equal amount of self-fullness, we will find ourselves at 53 BPM. That's what regulate means. And the breathing will become something that we've agreed to. It makes us feel more comfortable hanging out with each other because we have the same rhythm, just like two musicians improvising with each other on the stage. So to regulate is to both modify yourself and the other person, and it's unavoidable. If you came into the room, if they had 48 beats per minute, and you came in at 98 beats per minute, you being at 48 would not be calm. You would see how activated they are. And you, because you care, because you really have no choice because of this friend mammalian thing that you have up here, that you would naturally rise to 73, that you would meet them halfway. And that by meeting them halfway, you're bringing them down, which is good, right? You're helping them regulate. And that person, in their mind, will go, I'm really attracted to that person. I find him really attractive. I think what it is that I want my genitals to either be inside him or him inside me, depending on what sex this person is that I'm talking about. That when we have a simple understanding of how this works, we look at all kinds of dilation just as attraction. And this is where you even have this whole thing about pedophilia, even as a lingering thing, I think really breaks down to our inability to distinguish what dilation really means. That you were dilated by someone. And if you don't understand what that is, you will mistake it for whatever it is you need based on the amount of resolution you have to render the truth of it is, right? If you're in binary mode, it's going to be very simplistic. You're going to have 4 emotions, or worse, 2. Good and evil, right? Well, I'm good and you're evil. That's that low resolution. And the regulation's still happening. All the charisma exchanges are still occurring. Now, how you make friends is going to be based on what is that dilation quotient after the fact. After you leave that regulation with someone, yeah, we went down the river with Chet and his dog Wingo. And after we got off the river and we came home, something off about Chet. There was something off about that. Dude's kind of weird, kind of giving me a sketchy vibe. Should I start telling random people that I think he's dark? Or should I maybe reflect on this a little bit more and start to look at my own regulation and really wonder what is up with Chet? And what you're really looking at is why was my regulation so difficult? And why is the after effects of this regulation leaving me in a different place than I was before I entered? Hey, honey, let's go to Portofino's, says the husband. Oh my God, I love Portofino's, says the wife. Their breadsticks are amazing. Both of you love that restaurant because the last time you were there, it dilated you. It made you feel important. It made you feel selfful, right? It added to that selffulness. Chet is James, isn't he? No, I think Lee Johnson is definitely Chet Harmony. That dude's creepy as fuck coming in here pretending to be different people, right? That's the kind of thing where you're like, that was weird. Dude pretending to be this guy, then pretending to be that guy. That's creepy. So I think that's probably closer. Is you get these regulations, and even though you're told that, well, this is Harmony's husband, so he's got to be good, but no, if anything, it makes me regulate more about, well, what's up with Harmony then? If like we're impersonating people over here, and like, how does that fit? We have to navigate our selffulness. We have to navigate how these things regulate, how we regulate with them. 4 boosters every year is something that you are regulating with. Even if you reject it, you're regulating with it. You're having a quotient. How does this belief make me feel selffully, right? What is my self-fullness quotient when I optimize or consider or regulate Fauci or Biden or the Apollo program? What is the regulation of that, right? Truth, the truthers that you find interesting or that inspire you, really break down into this regulation ceremony that occurs. And there's either more selffulness or less selffulness as a result of the interaction, right? So these equations you navigate every day, just like with Lee. I kept trying to say, Lee, if you want back in, come up with a super chat because I need to do something to punish the way that you're treating others in the chat. And we could block you, we could turn you off for 30 days, but if you're going to come back in as Benjamin Balderson, that's actually shitting on Benjamin Balderson's name. And you got people talking to Benjamin Balderson saying, why are you saying shit like that on the chat? And then Benjamin Balderson's chatting me going, dude, I just want you to know that's not me. And it's Lee. Now we're saying that Lee is trying to regulate. And as I've tried to regulate with Lee, I've realized I can't regulate with that guy. You're not failing because you're not regulating with people. You're actually evacuating yourself by insisting you're supposed to regulate with those people. And this really boils down to how selfful we are as we decide how much abuse or how much discomfort or how much anti-regulation we really want to have with someone. If I have a 48 BPM, why? Because maybe I'm eating right, I'm exercising correctly, I'm meditating in the morning. The first time someone walks into the office at 98 BPM, it's going to be very easy to regulate with them and work on it, right? But the second time, it's going to be like, I guess we're doing this again. And then the third time, I guess we're doing this again. And then the fourth, I guess we're doing this again. And after a while, you start to realize, maybe I just won't regulate with these people. Maybe this is no longer actually profitable. In fact, maybe my self-fullness is being lost right here, because I feel I must be obligated to therefore keep liking Lee Johnson. Why? At what point do we find ourselves really even valuing these kinds of relationships if the regulation is always the same? You get to choose what you eat. You get to choose who you regulate with. You get to choose how selfful you're going to be. And you get to choose, most importantly, you get to choose how selfful you want those around you to be. This is pollen. This is the blooming of you as the flower. This is the essential nature, really, of this entire place. Let's see here. I think I drain myself around most people. Try too hard. Jay Cipriano, great point. I think I drain myself around most people. Try too hard. I think that you feel dilated by draining yourself. I'm not trying to simplify it, Jay Cipriano. I hope that resonates with you. But I think that you simply find that the only way that you can feel selfful around other people, the only way that you feel like you can deserve that, is if you drain yourself energetically. And so you will look for Lee Johnsons to be like, hey man, I want to be a friend because you keep lying to people and I saw that. And I was like, I'd like it if you'd lie to me too. And so you find yourself looking for that kind of prana economy. This is why I invented the word prana economy. I'm sorry, that sounds arrogant. I just mean, this is why I use the word. I'm not trying to sound fancy. We just need a word to talk about the true life underling energies, the subterranean energy that's happening between us, because it has nothing to do with words. It has to do with intent and selffulness. And so when you feel drained around someone else, it's because you wanted to dilate yourself. You wanted to feel like I was a vital part of this person's experience. And because you didn't feel worthy enough yourself, you were squeezing your juice out of yourself to secrete that relationship. And it will probably work many, many times. And then you will finally start to realize you can't sustain this. And more importantly, you will finally start to realize that you're being vamped all the time. The vampires find that very attractive. They find that one of the best relationships they can have, which is, I'm sorry to say, Jay Cipriano, part of why you adapted that strategy so long ago. And you adapted that strategy so long ago because you lacked the selffulness. You lacked that. And whatever mode you're using to maintain your selffulness, I want you to continue. But I want you to work harder on that selffulness quotient. How do you do this? It's actually very simple. It's actually very simple. Before I tell you how simple it is, I need to say this. When you feel inspired or dilated by someone, I would like for you to imagine that it's very possible that you are the person that has the lower selffulness quotient. This doesn't mean you're incompatible. It doesn't mean you're taking away from that, because someone at, I'm just going to make these numbers up, someone at 71% selffulness is not going to be like, oh, that guy's 58% selffulness, I can't handle hanging with him. Because the more generous you have with this charisma, the less you are affected by anyone that is deregulating you. You certainly will realize you're not going to have a lot in common with the 33 or the 32 percenters. Anyone below that 33 threshold, I'm just making that number up, of selffulness, if you were at 72, you are not going to be able to sustain yourself at 72 with them all the time. You're going to have to shut those people out. Shutting them out, you might think is cruel, but shutting them out also is the only motivation they will ever have for wanting to be more selfful, for wanting to find more of that self-fullness. People will load information into their chamber that they think is interesting and distribute it that night in front of witness for the pure purpose of trying to bluff the prana economy, the river card of selffulness. They want more selffulness, but they're not willing to say, I deserve more selffulness. Why? Because it's so expensive to know that. James True, just wanted to let you know the email just won't work for me. Jimbo, I need you to join Telegram or Twitter or Patreon and message me that way, because I'm so sorry the email doesn't work. I use Google as my email service. I think maybe you mentioned this on Friday. I use Google as my email service. I'm not going to be able to debug Google for you. I got emails this morning, though. Doesn't mean maybe my email is broken, but I think at this point, instead of throwing this in chat, because there's no way I would be able to catch this regularly, and it sounds like you really need help. And so if you do, I think you need to just spend a little bit more calories and just find another way to connect with me. I say this all the time, but there's a Telegram group. It's usually posted in the chat. In fact, right there, Sark and Chipmoff just posted it. It's posted all the time. And just maybe try and find another way to connect with me. If also on jtrue.com, you can respond to any of my pages there. You don't need an email, and that will tell me something. So there's just so many ways. You could also actually just make a comment on the video. Did you know if you make a comment on the video, it actually helps me? The chat's great, but if you actually leave a comment in the video itself, that even helps. So there's all kinds of ways to communicate with me. And I just want you just to put a little bit more calories into it. I'm sorry you're having trouble there. By the way, this weekend I mailed out 45 pounds of books. I am unable to know for sure who did and did not get their books. And I finally just gave up and said, you know what? I'm just going to mail everyone that I have any slightest inkling of a doubt you did not get your book. I'm going to mail you a new book. And that's what I did Saturday. That box was so heavy. It was awesome too. If you bought my book, first of all, thank you. If you bought my book and you got it, thank you. If you bought my book and you got another one, I hope it doesn't take away from the uniqueness of that book I sent you. And I'd like for you to consider maybe gifting that book to someone. Just saying, hey, this is how it works. I'm paying it forward, and here's an interesting book I think you might like. If you did not get that book, I am so sorry. I love writing. Even more importantly, I love that people are buying my books, and I look forward to making sure you get this book. I actually don't have to say anymore, if you didn't get your book, let me know, because Saturday I mailed out 45 pounds of books to literally anyone that I think could have possibly not gotten that book. So there's an update on that. We got a fresh order today. Another reason why I know my email's working. And I'm packing that up myself. I'm really enjoying that. The Library Prometheus, that did go out Saturday. So if you're waiting for that to come out, that's coming out too. You should be getting those this week. If you did not, I didn't get, okay. It's like, Shimoff, you didn't get a book. The Library Prometheus is out. You guys can check that out. If you want, it's everything I've ever done. All the live streams are converted into MP3s. So it's like 320 episodes or something. I think it's 314 episodes of those. My screenplay, which you wouldn't have seen unless you're a Patreon. My all five of my books in digital format. It's like a ebook, format. You have all those on a USB drive, plus the 5 films that we made over the summer. 2 of those were banned from YouTube. That's called the Library Prometheus. And if you want that, it's on a massive sale right now. So you can buy that. And it comes with this cool, I can't wait till you guys see this. Shout out to Angela for helping me with this. But I can't wait for you to see how the Library Prometheus comes to you. Let me know what you think about that. Thank you, Mirrored Moth. There's the Library Prometheus. If that's true, Steph, I need you to email me. Sometimes you throw out some pretty weird stuff sometimes, though, so I don't know if that's true. Yeah, so Self-fullness, the magnets are great. Yeah, there's a good stuff. There's some weird stuff in the chat today, right? Like, really weird stuff, man. Not really weird, but, there's some dark people in the chat. I just think you guys should know. I mean, I'm full of light, but there's some, like, darkness in the chat. And I'm not trying to, like, shade anyone, but I just want you to know there's some darkness. Do you see how that you see what the regulation of that is? You see what the prana economy of that is? I'm still learning how to discern as we all are. But if you stop listening to words and really just start paying attention to what you feel when someone's talking, it does profound things to your discernibility. And if you're not losing calories all the time by not paying attention to this prana economy, you're going to find that you have more calories to be selfful. And when you have more calories to be selfful, people will walk away going, wow, that guy really inspired me, or that girl really inspired me. I'm really dilated by that person. And it will feel good to you. And you know what it'll do? It'll actually give you more selffulness. You'll start to feel, wow, maybe I'm good at this. Maybe I should be full of myself. And the answer is, yeah, you should. That's what's going to make you more generous. James, there is a G. Don't know what that means. Is Living Soul Nation still a thing? Living Soul Nation turned into Dojo Earth, Green Mountain Girl. Everyone that was on Living Soul Nation got an email last year saying, hey guys, we moved all this over to Dojo Earth. So Dojo Earth right now is not open. That website was running. It was like an open, it's basically like we were social media. We couldn't upload videos there. You could post videos there, but we don't have like a video streaming server. We played with that, but running the site as a social media site, dojoearth.org, requires an administrator to really just put in a lot of calories every day. It just comes with a territory, the logins or hacking, or there's just a lot that goes into that. So dojoearth.org, it was a great website though. We really had all these different groups in it. It's still there. It's just that the login is shut off during the great moderator revolt of June, because we needed to turn Dojo off. It just made more sense just to shut everything off, because I was spending money on the monthly, $100 or so to even keep that up. And with people literally like, we must burn this place, it was just kind of better just to sort of like, oh, let's just shut it down for now. So that's there. It could come back. I'd love for it to come back. But I think we need someone that really wants to be focused on running the back end of a social media site, and working on the back end of getting us a mobile app. That was our next step, was building a mobile app. So we didn't do that yet. But through Amazon, I don't trust you. Yeah, you should buy it through Amazon. Definitely, Steph. Yeah, don't buy it through me. And if you send me an email, then I'll just refund your money. Because, like I said, you say some weird things, Steph, that are like really antithetical to what I think is being the truth. So, in case this is a joke, yeah, just send me an email and I'll just refund your money, and you can get it that way. I do appreciate you buying it though. Sorry if you had trouble. If you had trouble, I don't actually know if you're serious. This is why I don't like sarcasm. This is why Lee Johnson was thrown out. I don't think sarcasm is okay. There's just no room for it, because how the fuck do we tell? It's like this free ticket you have where you get to say, oh, well, I was being sarcastic. You're the one that took it so realistically. And it's just like, well, fuck, dude, how am I supposed to know this stuff? It's very difficult. Well, I'm inspiring people by being myself. Yes, you are, Bulla. Yeah, Bulla. You will inspire more people by yourself than by having something to say. The authenticity that you have when you say it is what it's going to be. Definitely, you don't know the truth and I don't like you. Good, Steph. Thank you. That's more in line with how you usually talk. That's why I don't know if what you're saying is true or not. Is Steph your ex in disguise? No. No, I don't think Steph is that. Steph's a dude, and my ex, I don't think that I know my ex wears 2 masks. And that doesn't make me laugh. She has such a beautiful face. I really wish that she wasn't wearing 2 masks. And knowing that she's out there wearing 2 masks doesn't make me feel better. it makes me feel sad that the world doesn't get to see her face. She was a beautiful woman, beautiful person. Is Steph Owen? I don't think so. Although, never mind. I shouldn't have even read that comment. I can't believe I missed a revolt. I know, Sark, it was a good one. But it's still lingering. It's still lingering. So, you haven't actually missed it. You're just watching the rest of it. So who do I regulate? Harmony, you will never get a wrench around here, but don't take it personally. That's just how Lee is. If you were to be more critical of Lee, that might get you there, but I think you feel that you are helping him by just justifying his lying, and that's kind of creepy to me. That's never going to be able to be rewarded like that. Not that a wrench should even be a reward. Remember, everyone had a wrench. Remember that, guys? Remember when everyone had a wrench? You remember that? We've tried all kinds of things here. All kinds of things. And I just want the... Steph, you're in Russia, by the way, I think, right? Let me know that. And by the way, if you ordered a year ago, I was doing all the shipping then. Let's see. As a woman, wearing makeup has a big difference in how I'm treated by others. It's so odd. Mandy, I'm not saying this is true. First of all, great point. Second of all, I'm not saying this is true, but I would like for you to consider this. Maybe the reason why people treat you differently is not because they see makeup on you, but because they saw you apply self-fullness to your face. That you grooming yourself isn't really, like, our eyes render it as physically licking my finger and wiping my eyebrows down. This is my joke for grooming myself. But really what's happening is energetically, I am blessing and imbuing the ends of my fingers with self-fullness, and I'm attaching it to my face so people can see how self-full I am right now. Does that make sense? I really think you should consider that, because I find people that wear perfume very hard to trust. And I find people that wear a lot of makeup very hard to trust. I do notice, though, when like a woman cleans her feet, I'm not saying that I notice her feet, but I'm telling you, the art of a woman like caring for the bottom of her feet is ingesting self-fullness in her entire circuitry, her roots, right? She's in her roots, she's applying self-fullness to the bottom of her feet. And now all the energy that comes up through her feet has that ritual of self-fullness that she applied to it, which makes it, it imbues things, if that makes sense. It imbues stuff. And so, you could say, no, it's none of that, James. It's makeup. That's cool. But it may not be that way. It might actually just be, you should maybe try this. The next time you're going out where you think you'll be able to tell if this is a good experiment, don't put makeup on, but sit in front of the mirror and give yourself self-full grooming, but don't use makeup. Self-fully groom yourself. Like that kid who's reading a book. If you ever seen that, it's the cutest thing where the kid's like pushing the book into his face as he's like reading it off the page. To take the blessed waters from your sink that you clean, right? So you turn it into, hey buddy, you turn it into holy water by cleaning the sink, and then you bless the water as you fill it. Then you're doing this anyway. You just have never consciously thought about the prana economy of underneath. So you take that and you spread the water on your face, and that you are washing yourself in the tides of self-fullness. And that is truly what people are responding to. They're responding to how much you thought you were worthy of dilating your own presence, if that makes sense. I wonder if you agree with that. I can't have Balderson back, Crystal, because Balderson's already made it clear how ignorant I am about religion, how I'm stupid, and how I was secretly trying to plan like a festival in his land without telling him. And then there's no way that I could maintain my selffulness and do a show with Balderson. But he does have a show on ROKFIN, and I encourage you to check it out. I think that you'll find him fascinating to watch. So definitely check him out. He's on ROKFIN, and he had to spend some calories to get over there, so it's worth you checking out. But no, you won't be seeing that on here. It would require too much unregulation of selffulness of myself to be able to engage in that. Plus, a lot of times when we talk on there, I don't think he was always like saying things that were like accurate, and it was very, very caloric of me to try and kind of correct things on that sometimes too. It was difficult, but I encourage you to check out Balderson for sure. He's on YouTube. He's on ROKFIN, and if he dilates you and he makes you feel more selfful, do it, man. Feel more selfful from that. I am all for that. I don't care who it is or whatever techniques it is that helps you feel more selfful. I know that if you are more selfful, that will simply just make you more generous. And if it's Balderson that does that, do it. Yeah, it's seriously no issue with that. But I don't really think that it's productive at all to suggest that I should be doing that, that I should be having that back on. Ben had to do what he had to do to preserve his level of selffulness. He's not going to be able to hang with me unless there's just like some major stuff there. But I don't think he needs to do major stuff. I don't think that we're all supposed to like constantly be fulfilling our selffulness. I think we learn our prana economies and we stick to them. And, they're either going to be profitable or they aren't. So, but yeah, there's a few streams where we had some talks and, you should check them out. And if he's really that dilating, you should be dilated by watching him. You should. I don't think it's really worth that. I don't. It's mainly because of the lie. I had a really good friend named Christy that lived in Oregon. And Christy decided that Ben would never lie about this. And Christy and I don't talk anymore. And that really hurts. That it was, I get it. That doesn't really show how strong of a friend Christy was, but it was just like really bummer to see. She was like one of the first people that read my book, that was like really helping me find my voice. And because she really believed that I was going around selling tickets to Ben's land without telling Ben, and that I was pressuring him into doing something when, dude, we had like meeting after meeting about it. And when it came down to it, Ben wasn't being devious. Ben just didn't have the balls or the heart. I'm going to say the heart. Ben didn't have the heart to look me in the eye and say, dude, I told you I'd do this and I can't right now. Now, if Ben could have just owned that, I think, yeah, we could still be doing shows together. But that was then. And instead of Ben owning that, Ben turned it into, no, James was lying. He was doing this, he was doing that. And there really was nothing else I could say. And then he started telling people that I didn't know shit about religion, which I don't care if you guys don't think I know or know. I don't need you to think I know. But I'm one of the few people that talks about this stuff that actually has a major in religion. That doesn't mean I know religion, but I've spent a good bit of my life doing nothing but studying religion. Nothing but that. And he's going around saying the Jews secretly worship Mercury. And literally nothing has been more documented ever in the history of religion ever than exactly what the Jews believe. And they're not going around worship Mercury. That's what you tell people when you want to dilate them. And if you tell them that, it's because they've never heard it before. So the uniqueness of it, not the quality of it, the uniqueness of it dilates them. And I just got sick of doing that on the show too. It just doesn't work. I think you'd be better off just watch. And I think sometimes Owen and Ben do things. I think you could really, really do better by encouraging Owen and Benjamin to do more, right? The two Benjamins, they could do like a thing, the Benjamins or something, meet the Benjamins or whatever. And I think you guys would find that that's like really awesome, that they, that dilates the shit out of you. Maybe you don't even have to listen to me after that. It could be like, dude, those two are so hot and so awesome and so dilated that I'm so set. Just do that. You'll be set, right? So watch Benjamin. Got no problem with it. And if I'm not dilating enough for you by myself or doing the radio, we're doing a lot of shows with a lot of people. Geez, we had Rose on 2 weekends ago, doing shows literally 3 nights a week with other people. So If that's not dilating for you enough, or if the people that I have on is not working for you, it has to be Balderson. I think you need to go back to Balderson, you know? And God forbid, maybe you ask Balderson. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? I realize that no one can ask Owen because you get thrown out of chat, but it's just weird why people are like always asking me. It's not weird. I think it's because they measure my self-fullness and they think they can get away with it, because you can ask me and I'll just tell you. So now you know. So. Want to be involved with community, and it seems like you just keep getting fucked over. I don't think that it's that I get fucked over. I think that I really expect a lot. If I'm going to share a stage with someone, I'm going to want a certain degree of integrity from them too. I realize that sounds very suggestive, like I'm the only one that has integrity. I've realized that. So, you know, hypocritically aside, I don't want to share a stage with people that lie like that to me. That I feel that's a better way. That I feel have gone out of their way to be deceptive about me. Just not interested. I just don't. And Ben Balderson has reached out. He sent me a friend request on Facebook. I got kicked off Facebook like 2 weeks later, and I wrote him back and was like, "Do you have anything to say about all this?" And no, he didn't. He didn't. He thought we could just be cool after all that. And I don't know how I could feel comfortable around that, because I don't know how I would be able to regulate around someone like that. I just don't. You know, if Christy writes me and says, I was fucking wrong, that would be awesome. That would be freaking fantastic, because I miss her. I actually had a friendship with her. But that's how this goes. And I think I don't think unity is ever our goal. I don't think us coming together, Rose and I were going to do a stream about this. I don't think we're supposed to come together. I think we're supposed to all find our self-fullness alone as much as we can. I think that's really what needs to happen. And that the more you find your self-fullness, the more you will start to notice that you don't need someone to tell you bullshit about how the Jews are secretly worshiping Mercury. You'll find that the authenticity of the person talking is enough. I've been schooling people on the radio show about this. There's some people that get on the radio and they feel that they shouldn't be there unless they've prepared something to say. And then they start to read what they prepared to say, and it sounds so dry and empty. Why? Because they're not authentically conveying it. They prepared it beforehand because they lack the self-fullness to just deliver what they feel live, like this. You don't love Led Zeppelin. You love how Led Zeppelin dilates you when you listen to the right song at the right time. You don't really love half the people that you think you love. You simply find them dilating. And I know that might be hard to accept, and you might say things like, oh, well, that means love isn't real, and that's just you being binary because you wanted to say that I meant that was the case across the board, but it's just not true. You will enter into a relationship with an alligator logo on your shirt. You will enter into a relationship with Levi's 501 jeans. You will enter in a relationship with making sure that Owen Benjamin is inviting you on his show. And all of these things you're doing because it dilates you and your self-fullness. And if you have to cut someone else to get in line, or if you have to lie about this, or if you have to lie about that, that shows you what I mean. That because you're getting that self-fullness from someone else, you're always going to feel like it's a scarcity, and you're always going to be competing for the honor of having that dilation when it could be coming from you the whole time. I never told you this. I'm so sorry. How do you get this? All you have to do to improve your self-fullness is catch yourself not honoring the anima or the animus in the room. This is going to sound really creepy, and I don't care. If you're a guy, for example, and you're alone, you're a single holer, before you sit down to a dinner, you're looking for opportunities to catch yourself about how selfful you are. And the way you can catch yourself by how selfful you are is notice how much you change when witness enters the room. If you can notice this, you will start to get into the habit. You will develop a relationship with your animus or your anime. And you will find that this meal is not good enough, that this meal doesn't have enough color in it. It doesn't look beautiful enough. And you will say, she deserves this. And she doesn't exist. It's this disassociated anima. It's the other half of your psyche that you seek a relationship to find that other half of your psyche and incorporate it into yourself, which is why you're dilated by another person. And I'm telling you that even those relationships will always end badly because you're setting up a codependency of scarcity. Now the other person gets to bequeath selffulness to you based on how well you perform for their amusement. It's true. So if you catch yourself in the car being mundane, if you catch yourself bored and you don't do anything about it, this is what I mean. If you find yourself at the base of a volcano and you're like, I don't want to climb halfway up, might miss the ferry, and we'd have to wait an extra hour. Realize that if your animus or if your anima was there, you guys would race up to the volcano, laugh your ass off as you run down, and then you'd miss the ferry, and you'd spend the most beautiful hour sitting in a parking deck, up on a pole, looking at the shore, waiting for the next ferry to come in. And you would be fully dilated the whole time. You do not need another person to hijack dilation from. You do not need that. And you will feel dilated if you are self-full and you notice that there are younglings or there's an anima or an animus that's been manifested in a physical person that feels dilated by you. You will feel dilated by that. And that relationship is give and take. That's why a woman has a place. That's why a man has a place. We have places in life because of this dilation quotient, because of this prana economy. So the key to fixing this is not to fix it, it's simply to notice. Your awareness is all it takes. In your passenger car right now is a piece of trash that's on the floorboard. And it's either too small or it doesn't bother you enough or whatever. And if what you consider the most banging animus or anime, other person, right? Let's, whatever. If the most beautiful woman was to get in my car, the first thing I would do is go, holy fuck, my seat is not clean enough for her. It's not. Boom, you just caught yourself. You just caught yourself. You caught yourself because you notice, well, why is it good enough for me? Why? And that's the selffulness. And all it takes to fix it, you don't have to burn a lot of calories. All you have to do is be aware. That's really all it takes. Because the moment you inject it with awareness is the moment it doesn't happen next time. You find yourself better at that. You're in the bathroom. You turn your head to walk out. You notice the trash can's full, but you keep going. That is a loss of selffulness. There is a disassociation that happened because you needed to secrete melanin. You needed to secrete psychic will to block the trash can from your view. To say, I do not see that the trash can's full. And the next time you go in the bathroom, you will not have to secrete as much melanin as the first time because last time you ignored it. And you will do that for a month, 6 weeks. You will see your beard hair in there. You will see the hair from the drain in there, whatever it is. And you will keep ignoring it, keep ignoring it, keep ignoring it until the day that your aunt walks out of the bathroom and you're like, fuck, I gotta clean that bathroom. That place is a fucking truck stop. Holy shit, that place is awful. And that awareness is all it takes. Now that awareness is spoiled if you use it to ventilate and say, oh, I suck, I'm so terrible, blah, 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 blah. And that's just you trying to lose more energy. But that awareness starts to create this appetite for selffulness. And you will notice that selffulness actually ends up feeding you, not taking it away. It takes a while to get there, but it's very possible. The more selfful people we have in this world, the less stabbies we'll be buying into right now. That right now, the reason why we are being convinced, or why most of the population is being convinced, that they need 4 stabbies every year now, and that their myocardial wall is a terrorist organization that's here to infiltrate their heart, and that the myocardial wall must be removed. The reason why people believe that is because they lack self-fullness. And that's most of what this truth movement comes down to. You regulate to the government if the government is a higher vibration than you. And if your vibration is higher, you don't. You will go down, won't you? So you want to be above that. And you will be there quite naturally, simply by being selfful. That's all it takes. Was that an owl? I don't think so. I'm in an opposite predicament. My cleanliness has grown into neurosis. That's an interesting feeling, Iliad's Agamemnon. You could actually work on that by telling yourself that you deserve to have chaos, and that you find a romance with chaos. And the way that you could do that is by crumpling up a sheet of paper or taking a dish towel and placing it in the middle of your floor and having to walk around it. And every time you walk around it, you will laugh, and you will enjoy this dance you're doing with yourself, as you're like, no, I need to work on that. Try that, see what you think. And I tell you what, the application has nothing to do with fixing or embracing or touching your inner dominant trauma. None of that. It's all applied through simply awareness. Awareness, that's all it takes. It's awareness. It fixes all that. So try that. See if it works. If you don't know thyself, you can't respect no one. Exactly, Free Press. James seems to always get you thinking on the things. That's why I'm here, slinging to it. That's why I'm here. Too much sterilization is not good. That's right. That's right. You want a nice, even mix, don't you? You want the sink to be full of hair, and you want to be able to clean the hair out and have a fresh pool of virgin water to apply self-fullness to your face instead of makeup next time, just to see what happens, right? Same here. I lose so much energy cleaning. You might be losing energy cleaning, Mandy, by losing yourself in the expectations that you will feel selfful if you complete this. And I want you to understand that the selfful person would enjoy the process of cleaning. They would enjoy waiting for the ferry, wouldn't they? Why? Because they are self-full, which means they do not need to catch a ferry to have self-fullness, right? That they do not have to have a clean house to have self-fullness, right? So it's these expectations, it's these trajectories we make with ourselves when we enter into scheduling, right? And we're like, well, next week I'll go for a run. That's how you're abandoning that self-fullness. You know, a free man is a man that's untethered. He has no appointments or obligations. Why? Because the surge of your self-fullness is enough to dictate its own itinerary. It's like one of the first principles of being free, guys, is you get up when you're ready. You go to bed when you're ready. And you work on that project when you're ready because you were fully motivated, because you were fully self-full. Vacuuming to a clean house once a week is nice, yeah. And having that ritual of going, what are you going to do? You know, I'm going to vacuum for myself. Yeah, my Animus is coming over later. She's so fucking hot. I'm going to vacuum the floor right now. Because when she gets here, she's going to feel like, yeah, this is a place I can hang out in. And that would make me feel proud that I was able to maintain a place that this Animus could hang out in. It's a beautiful relationship you have with yourself. And if you need that help to start off, to kick it off, make it romantic. I don't care. How would she react is what you could ask, and say, is this meal good enough for her? As you start to have these conversations, you'll start to find that you disassociate less because you're self-full. Self-full, now you have enough energy to simulate both of you. And it just becomes a full-time thing. It's automatic. It's not even caloric. It's fun. It's fun. I love going for a walk with my dog in the morning. If I don't love vacuuming, that's my problem, really. They're both really just the same thing. It's the same thing. And if you're finding that you're not enjoying vacuuming, try and figure out what it is you don't like about vacuuming the most. Which part of it do I not like? And improve that. I love sweeping. I think it's the most meditative thing ever. You know what I fucking hate? Is putting it in a dustpan. I fucking hate that shit. It's never works. It's always sticks to the brushes. It's always this thing. I don't like it at all. But I love sweeping. The part of sweeping I freaking love. I don't have this installed yet, but I've been shopping for a long time. They have these under-the-counter vacuum cleaners where if you sweep something up to it, it just like sucks it up. I don't want one of those. It's kind of, I'm not getting into the story, but I want a chute. My house is set up to where I should be able just to have a little door that opens under the cabinets and I sweep it in and it falls down a chute into a bag. That's what I want. I don't want batteries. I don't want to install something in the cabinets. I don't want to do any of that. But I do want to build a chute. I haven't done that yet. But even the fact that I've thought about that is me becoming more selfful as I sweep. Because I want to enjoy sweeping. I love doing that. Right? James, just get a Roomba. No, I'm not getting a Roomba. You get her instead of get a room. Have they done that? They should do that. Get a Roomba. No, I don't want a Roomba. But yeah, you could get a Roomba. But see, I actually like the art of dusting though. Like sweeping, I mean. That's a very witches thing. I love that. The sweeping that stuff into a pile, that feels great. I could do that all day. It's just the dustpanning part that I think sucks. It's just inefficient. It doesn't really work. That's what I don't like about it. So, yeah, I love laundry chutes too. They're cool. Very satisfying to empty the dust and dirt from vacuum to trash can. Damn it, Eric. See, that's what I hate about vacuuming. Now you're making me realize that I'm not selfful when I'm doing that. I should enjoy emptying that. Now I have a challenge. I will see what I can do. Wow, I see myself when you talk about procrastinating the cleaning up. Will being selfful make me want to clean more? No, thank you. I don't think it'll make you clean more. I think that you will find that you're not cleaning. You're just simply living. Kareen, I think you'll find that you're not cleaning anymore. You're just simply living. You're just like, oh, he's coming in or she's coming in here. I don't want her to see that. I'm gonna empty this trash can or whatever. It's that kind of thing. All right, we'll sign off. Guys, if the show isn't working for you, if you need something that we used to have, I want you to know that A, you liked it back then before I had that person on. Why would you not like who I might have on again? Why does it have to be, no, I wanted it to be the old way. And I think it's because you're afraid of new things. Sarcastic Warlock is a fascinating thinker. Debbie, holy shit. The things that Debbie's been saying on this show are fascinating. Charlotte, I can't even, there's too many to name. Tonight, Alara's bringing something to the table. She throws down some heavy stuff. If you need something that happened 2 years ago or last year, you're not going to find it here. We're constantly changing and growing. I'm not here to give reruns. You could just go back and watch that episode, though. You could. If you missed me and Owen, go watch those episodes. Have fun. Hit thumbs up. Put in the comments how awesome you thought it was. Do that. That's how you make your world better. You find your selffulness, and you're like, I really want to see that again. So, the power's in your hands. It is. I know, so many giants in this tribe. It's amazing. And I can't wait for tonight. I can't wait. It's awesome. All right, you guys, have a great day. Remember the Alamo. My outro is a little bit off today. I'm switching everything back over this computer, but if you bear with me. Thanks for the super chats. Wow, look at all that on ROKFIN. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. I bet you Graham was in there. That dude's always helping. If you're not on ROKFIN, please consider if it's just as easy for you to watch on ROKFIN, that watch on ROKFIN. It's actually better. It helps a lot more. There's Jack Clemens. I haven't seen that name in a long time. Good to see you. All right, thank you guys. We'll see you next time. And yeah, Pi too. Pi, holy crap. In fact, last time Magic, the invite didn't work out and Pi didn't get that. And that was that was a bummer. So sorry that missed out. But there's a lot of good stuff on here. Yeah, this is a great one. Usually I have to leave early, but I'm going to really hunker down and catch up after this. Good. Thank you, Rose. I'm glad to hear it. And Rose, if you ever want to come back, we'd love to have you back too. So, and Rose and I were going to do a stream about the word's not animosity. That's just all I can think about. We were going to do a show about like incongruence in the truth movement. And I'd given that a lot of thought. We were all set. And then I had to call in a rain check. I had a mix up with scheduling. But I'd be willing to talk about that. And I'd be willing to say that I have issues, if that helps any. If people want to say, James, you have issues because of one of the Benjamins, or you have issues because of Amazing Polly, or, all that. It's no beef with talking about that either. I think it's good vitriol, personally. I think it's great. So, yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. And I swear we're going out now. Bye. Tonight. I'm sorry we're not done. Sorry. Tonight, 7 p.m. Moonstay Cast. Check it out. Tonight's topic is time. And, yeah, it'll be a good one. So, till then.